We'll go ahead and continue on with our post-race media availability. We're joined by winning crew chief Jeremy Bullins of the number 12 Menards Peak Ford Team Penske. And Jeremy, coming out of the gate with the first triumph of the season, 10 points on the board now for you. Talk about that number 12 Ford tonight and how you got at the victory lane.
Yeah, it's been a. How about now? Perfect. Yeah, it's been a good week so far. Everybody at Team Penske put a lot of effort into the new rules package and trying to understand what we needed to be fast here. You've seen all week the three of us can kind of work to the front, and the other two guys, Ryan's learned a lot from them about how to manage the line and that kind of thing. And so it's been a fun week so far, and obviously we'll keep working to try to make things better and be back here on Sunday.
Okay, we'll open the floor for questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll start up front with Kenny.
Kenny Bruce with KennyBruce.net. Jeremy, you talk about Ryan learning, from Joey and Brad. Have you learned anything working closer with Penske now in the Super Speedway program?
Yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot since I started here from those guys. Brad to me is one of the best of this era at drafting. I mean, you've seen how many races he's gone to the front of the pack and managed both lines and can stay out front. So obviously those are things that we pay attention to and talk about, myself and Ryan. So, you've seen Ryan be in position to win two of these things at the end, and we're 1 for 2, so that's not bad, I guess. So, like I said, there's one more on Sunday. Hopefully we can put ourselves in position again.
Additional questions down here at the deadline room. We're going to come down here to Matt Weaver.
Matt Weaver, AutoWeek.com. I just wanted to ask you a little bit about the new inspection tent and how your team has gone through it and what your overall impression of the closed tent system is.
Yeah, I think, if you look at the past several years, starting with the LIS, NASCAR's done a great job of trying to make inspection, a little more clear cut. And a lot of these tools, the technology that's out there allows us to measure things, and it's either good or it's not. And that's the beauty of it. And I think that's very exciting for the future. I think it's going to speed that process up. I think it kind of gives you there's no interpretation. It's either green or it's not, right? So I think that's a big step forward for the sport. I think so far what we've seen is it seems to be very repeatable, and that's what you always hope for when there's a big change in technology like that. As long as it continues to do what we've seen so far, I think it's going to be a good step.
Go to your left, the Mike.
Mike Hembry, USA Today. Jeremy, Sunday, you guys have 3 good cars, obviously. If the 3 Penske cars are up front with 10 to go, there's going to be decisions to be made about who goes with who, and does one of the guys try to go with a 4th non-Penske car? Do you leave all that up to Joey pretty much, or can you get involved in maybe helping him make some choices? I'm sorry, Ryan.
I wanted the top on the restart, so I can't, those guys kind of do what they want to do when it gets to that point. He said, I said, what are you thinking? He said, I'm going to take the bottom. I said, you sure? But, he knew what he was doing. He had a plan. And, those guys are smart. They know what they're doing. And I might coax him one way or another if I really feel strongly about something. But, I think the key is that race is a lot longer, and we've got to work really hard together to get to the point where the 3 of us have to make that decision. That's a really good problem to have with 10 to go in the 500. So, I think the thing that we've talked about and the thing that we'll continue to talk about is trying to race smart as long as we can to the point where it's one of us that wins it. And I think that's the thing that we've got to try to do. And it's a long day on Sunday. You can't have any mistakes and try to keep ourselves up front to have that problem.
Additional questions for Jeremy? Go to Holly.
Holly Kane, NASCAR Wire Service. Did the race kind of go like you might think it would in terms of the accidents that occurred, the way people were racing, the way the cars played off one another?
I think the 48 blowing a tire, that kind of stuff's unfortunate because you wind up taking out 2 or 3 cars, and every time there's a wreck, there's less and less cars, and it kind of dictates what you do at the end because there's not as many people behind you helping you. So, I think that was probably the worst part. Is it's unfortunate they had that issue and took out a couple cars early. I think I don't want to say the race would have been better because it was a pretty good race, but it's always more fun when you have more cars in the line and kind of move around a little bit more. But I thought to me, these either the first one goes perfectly calm and nothing happens, and then the second one's a disaster, or the first one there's a bunch of stuff, and these guys will probably ride around and be smart and not try to get their backup car out. So it'll be curious to see what happens in the second one, but I bet it's pretty calm.
Back to Mike.
Did you see the replays of the two Stenhouse wrecks, and were you surprised at how the other cars reacted to the air?
No, I think that, it's something that we talked about all week, and leading into qualifying. There were a lot of guys who tried to sit on the pole, and I think you saw the 88 being smart with their car, because what it took to be fast for a lap is probably not what you need to drive well in the race. And I think a lot of people figured that out, and I think, it's even going to be worse on Sunday if it's 82 again or whatever it's going to be. So, I think guys learned a lot. I think being in the Clash this year for us was big, and understanding what it was like to race in a daytime with these rules. So I feel like we took a lot away from Sunday that look forward to working on the next couple of days to be ready for Sunday.
Any additional questions for Jeremy? Jeremy, you are free to go. Congratulations. Good luck on Sunday.
Thanks.
And now we are joined by the race-winning driver of the first Can-Am Duel at Daytona, and that is Ryan Blaney, driver of the number 12 Menards Peak Ford for Team Penske. And it seemed like you had some friends on the track when it mattered most, and you made the most of those friends. Ryan, please walk us through those closing laps from your perspective.
Yeah, I thought our car was super fast all night. And I thought all three of our cars were really fast, myself, Brad, and Joey. It's a shame the two got tore up there. But I thought we were able to really control the whole race pretty much. And we saw that in the Clash. The two was able to control it, and Joey was able to control it. And I was just kind of the middle. And we had kind of a set plan, to try to work with each other the best we can. I think we do that great as a whole organization. But nice to know that we have some really fast race cars, and it can also be aggressive at the same time and race people. We don't just have a fast car in a straight line. We can make aggressive moves, and I think our balance between the two is pretty good right now. So it'll change. I'd like my car to do a little bit different stuff for Sunday. Tonight I could get a little bit free. And Sunday, you're just going to be having your hands full a little bit more. But really happy with the performance of our car. And, nice to have a friend there at the last restart. That's why I chose the bottom, because he was in third, and I figured he'd help me out a good bit. So he did a good job all night. But I'm really happy for our whole team. And can't thank everybody enough from the whole organization for giving us a fast car.
Okay, we'll open the floor for questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll start with Mike and go to Holly.
Mike Hembry, USA Today. Ryan, why did you make your move to the inside when you did? How did you make that decision?
Yeah, so that's the same spot I made the move in the Clash, and it didn't work, and it almost didn't work tonight. But I was coming with such a head of steam, I had to. Brad laid back so much from whoever was behind him, so I kind of laid back to Brad off of 4 because I didn't want them to get a huge run, and it just propelled me so fast to Joey. I had to turn left. I just ran him over, and I really didn't want to make my move right there because it didn't work. It really shouldn't have worked. And, I was trying to plot where to do the move better. I was thinking about that all week after it didn't work in the Clash, and that's not the spot I wanted to do it. But I was just coming with such a head of steam, I had to turn left or run the 22 over.
Go next to Holly.
Holly Kane, NASCAR wire service. Could you talk just a little bit? Bubba was in here, and he was very psyched. I mean, it must have been somewhat comforting if it wasn't a teammate, it was one of your best friends that could be there and kind of be there at the end with you.
Yeah, he did a good job all night. I was watching him the whole time, and he did a good job of picking which lane to go with when, and not having much experience in these cars at this racetrack or the speedways. It's hard. It's hard to choose what lane to go with when and kind of stall lanes out. And I thought he did a really good job. And like I said earlier, that's why I picked the bottom on the last restart because he was down there, and I felt like he could give me a good push. And I figured if I was clear both lanes getting into one, I could control him enough to go on and win the race. But so yeah, he did good. Hopefully he can continue to show what he can do. And I know a lot of people have given him not a lot of we got a wreck. Not a lot of credit in the off season, and I think he proved himself tonight that he should be here and deserves to be here, and I hope he can continue to do that.
Do we have any additional questions here in the deadline room for Ryan? Let's go to Godwin Kelly.
Godwin Kelly with the News Journal. You're the Cup Series points leader right now. What do you think about that?
There ain't no points in this racing. Not tonight. Sunday is the one I'm worried about. And, you know, it's nice to win this one, to be honest with you. It's really, really cool to be in victory lane in anything at Daytona, whether it's a clash or a dual race. But, you know, Sunday is the real that's when you go to the pay window. So this doesn't you get a cool trophy with this, but you don't get a ring in your face on the trophy for this race. But it is nice to get in victory lane. It starts your weekend off good. You know, it just pumps everybody up and gets everybody ready to go and just shows the strength in our car. So
We'll go next to Jenna and then back to Mike.
Jennifer, AP, I asked Joey the same question. Is there any reason to believe a Penske car won't win on Sunday?
yeah, there's plenty of reason. I mean, there's 37 other cars. Yeah, we're super strong right now, and it's really cool to be, you know, I'd say probably the best team right now on this whole week. But you never know what can happen. You know, we could get broken up or things we can get in a wreck. You just never know. So I would say, you know, I wouldn't disagree that, you know, we might be the favorite team right now just because of the speed we've shown. But you never know what can happen. We could all finish 38th, 39th, and 40th. But it's definitely nice to be confident like this with fast cars.
Where did you get your confidence in plate racing? I remember, I guess it was Talladega 3 years ago, and you were the only one that would try to go with Tony Stewart and create a second line. I mean, where did this come from, and where did you get? How did you settle in so quickly as a guy who could do this?
I don't know. You know, when I first started racing the Cup Series in 15, I think we did all the speedways, and you're just kind of learning. You're just kind of going with the lanes. And you're like, okay, I guess, you know, I'll go with Joey or Brad. They know what they're doing. And you just learn. You know, I learned a lot from watching Brad. I think Joey and Brad are two of the best at this stuff. And I learned a lot from watching them and being teammates with them. And I think you just kind of absorb all that knowledge over the years. And you go from somebody who's just following and going with lanes to creating lanes and creating moves and wanting to be the lead car. And they used to not be that way. And I think it's just experience and reps when it comes to super speedway races. And, you know, fast cars help too. They give you confidence of making those moves. And when you have fast cars like that, people tend to go with you. But I think it's just experience and time.
Next to Mike.
You think the wrecks we've seen tonight have been at least partly caused by the fact that some guys are set up for speed and some for handling? Is that...
I don't know. I haven't seen a replay of any of them, so I don't really know. I know the 48 like blew a tire or something. And I don't know what happened to William, or if the 17 got him loose or whatnot. And on the backstretch, I think the one jumped outside of Brad. I'm not really sure, but there are some cars that I could see, you know, a little bit. And I've been watching a little bit of this race, and there are some cars that can't really, they don't drive very well. I think they set them up kind of for speed. You saw the 88 drop right to the back and not race. Yeah, you know, he's got the pole, but which, you know, they shouldn't be able to, don't want to tear the car up. There's a pole sitter, but there are some cars that are more at control than others that have tried to get too much single car speed, and that's where it goes back to where I think our cars are great is we have a good bit of both of balance and speed. So that part is nice, but there are some that are pretty wild right now, and that'll be for a handful on Sunday.
Ryan, congratulations on the win tonight, and good luck on Sunday in the Daytona 500.
Thank you.